Hayley Rogers of Kingsport had a long, unfortunate history with opioid addiction, but she didn't know where to turn.
What brought me into recovery was a long journey of opioid addiction. I was kind of raised by an addict to be an addict. My mom passed away about 4 years ago from her addiction, and that kind of spurred me on to find recovery. She kind of found that rock bottom, so I didn't have to. And my church had a recovery program, Silver Recovery, and I finally went, and it was really a scary process for me to just admit that I really wanted help, because it's a shameful thing.
Pastor Will Shuey, who has been running Shades of Grace United Methodist Church in downtown Kingsport for the last 5 years, echoed those sentiments. Pastor Shuey's church deals almost exclusively with drug users and the homeless.
Number one thing is you have to want.
Yeah.
You have to want it. I mean, no matter how hard someone else wants it for you, if you don't want it, don't waste our time, because you're not going to get it.
Yeah.
And I think what a lot of it is fear of the unknown, because some of them, most all of them, have gone through some type of withdrawal, even on maybe on a smaller scale, and I've never experienced that, but it must be hell, what they go through. And I think some of them are just so, maybe they've experienced just enough of that, or seen it enough, that they just don't think they can survive going through what you have to do to get clean, because it's got to be a very difficult process, psychologically and physiologically, physically, and every other way.
Yeah.
So, and some of them, sadly, I mean, you can talk to them and, no, I'm okay. And so you just can't help someone who doesn't see their need of being helped.
Not only do people have to overcome their own personal demons to get clean, but they must also confront the stigma that society places on their situation.
There's a lot of mixed feelings about it, but the feeling that the people here in downtown that we talk to get is that the city really wishes they would go away and just wouldn't have to deal with them.
The city?
Yeah.
Oh, the city wishes they would go away.
City officials wish homelessness would just go away, and no one would have to deal with it.
Yeah.
We're often criticized by people in the powers that be in the city, who have said to us, if you stop feeding them, unquote, they will go away. That's their thing. You quit feeding them.
Yeah.
Quit treating them. You're treating them too well.
Yeah.
You feed them a meal. You give them clothing if they need it. But we're a church, and so we're doing what Jesus said to do.
Shades of Grace is not the only organization in Northeast Tennessee that works with homeless communities and those addicted to drugs. Family Promise in Johnson City has been working in this area for decades.
Family Promise is a shelter program for families with children. We are approximately a 90-day program. We work in conjunction with about 50 area churches to house the families in the evenings. During the day, they're with us. Working on goals, with our case manager, very specific to each family. That the program is tailored to each individual family's needs, so we can house. The point of it is not to judge. It is mostly to just see where the family is. Addiction is a big issue in this area, and also a big contributing factor to many people, the reason that many people are experiencing homelessness. Not everybody. Another big factor is most of our families are led by single parent households. So through the drug testing, we often, will have people test positive for different drugs. Marijuana is a big one. Sometimes opiates are an issue, and in the case of people experiencing active addiction, we have to often make the decision to potentially connect them with other resources, try to get them, in IOP, which is intensive outpatient treatment, or just really connect them with any local resources we have, because we have the churches to think about. Again, that people are volunteering to open their doors and allow the families to stay, and also we have the other families. I've worked here about 5.5 years. Came in very just wide open heart and mind that I was gonna help all these people. Just all they needed is just a little bit of help, and things were gonna just be fine after a few weeks here at Family Promise, and that is not often the case. So again, back to the main focus being help this family, help all the families get stable right now and into a home, and provide wraparound services, support services. We had a mom here 3 years ago, a single mom who had previously had significant drug addiction, was clean when she came in, and used a few times while she was here. Another agency and ours decided to help her get into treatment, and the only barrier was who was going to take care of her 18-month-old daughter while she was gone to a 28-day program. And I ended up doing it. Something that we have to say to ourselves often is that if we want the success more than the family does, it doesn't usually work. The family, the individual has to want to do the work, be that becoming clean and free of drugs, working or budgeting, or willingness to just kind of calm down and provide stability to their children. All that is up to them. We can just guide them. We can't do it for them.
While Family Promise works with churches to help homelessness in Johnson City, one contributor to homelessness can be drug addiction, and churches are trying to combat that with recovery ministries such as Recovery at Clay and Kingsport.
Recovery at Clay Street, located at 441 Clay Street in downtown Kingsport, Tennessee, is a recovery ministry based largely off of the Celebrate Recovery model created by Rick Warren and John Baker from Saddleback Church out in California. And we've operated there for approximately 13 years. And this ministry is an outreach to those with hurts, habits, and hang-ups. That's the official classification. Underneath that classification, that could be anyone perhaps going through addiction issues with alcohol or drugs, hurt through relationships, divorce, etc. And the ministry primarily uses the 12 steps, which is a copy essentially from Alcoholics Anonymous. However, the Celebrate Recovery at Clay Street model takes the Beatitudes in the Gospel of Matthew chapter 5 and applies those within the steps as principles to follow.
Celebrate Recovery and other such programs have helped addicts of all walks of life, including Hayley Rogers.
When I actually kept coming back to meetings, because I guess that's the hard part. You show up once and that's scary and you do it, but actually keeping up the practice of chasing God in recovery, for me, I found out there was so much more underneath it than it wasn't just drugs. I got rid of the drugs and I was still a broken person, and God had so much work to do on me, you get to that last step, and what do? You have to find a way to serve. God shows you how to pick yourself up, and He puts you back together, and then He points you in a direction. And my direction was leading to Celebrate Recovery myself. I had been attending for probably 8 years, and I met the lady who runs the Celebrate Recovery I attend, and it was there was so much encouragement there, you know. And then my pastor approached me and was like, "Hey, I have the Celebrate Recovery kit," and I was like, "Great, who's gonna lead it? I really want to help." And he was like, "Well, you are." And I'm not that type of person. I'm not the person who I want to be in the background. And you know, God picks those people who don't really want. They don't want to be up front. They don't want to be a leader, but He prepares them for it. You know, He equips the people that He chooses, and that's where I found myself, and I kind of drug my husband along too. So it's been an amazing journey, and I'm grateful for every step of it. I don't regret my addiction because of where it's brought me.